Hey guys, welcome back to The Refined Lad. I know I have been AWOL as of late. The last 3 months, I've just had a lot of improvements. I've been going to school, graduated for a massage certification. Probably one of the hardest schools that I've actually attended, and that's saying something. But what I want to talk to you guys about is I want to catch you up to speed. So as you've noticed, the camera quality should be a lot clearer. I bought a camera around my birthday, so mid to late fall, kind of had some time to play around with it, but we're still figuring that out. As well as I finally got a mic with a boom arm, so I'm pretty excited about that as well. We're becoming a little bit more professional each year, and that's kind of what it's about. But what I want to really share with you guys is the trajectory, right? For those of you who don't know, the massage school that I was attending, I was at now for a year. And I was the only male past a certain amount of time. There was two of us starting out. But within like 2-3 months, I was the only male in that class. And so most men in that situation are either going to learn to adapt to the environment around them, or they are going to learn different skills, and they're going to have to confront inner demons. Now, for those of you who have not watched my testimony, I highly recommend you watch it. I believe it's called something like Why I Left the Church. And that will kind of give you a rundown a little bit of my life. But the importance of this is that I learned being at that school, not just self-discovery, but also how I come off to others, right? My perception, the way that I speak. Even subconsciously, I've been doing a lot of research into this. Subconsciously, we give off a certain vibe, and dare I say vibe, or thought pattern, right, that others pick up on. And if we have wounds, if we have fears, if that inner child isn't healed, then we're going to pick up on those things, right? And so I guess one key critical takeaway that I have from attending that school is the self-discovery to learn not only how to establish and learning to set boundaries, but also how a man is able to healthily express his vulnerability in a manner that it is met and it isn't coming from an area of weakness. And so what I really want to share with you guys is this. Leading up to this channel that I've had now for around 2 years, the videos have always been about the mission, about the purpose. And I definitely think that there's such a need for those things in a man's life. But what we don't talk about, that is the elephant in the room, is that self-discovery, right? Currently, I'm going through attachment styles in inner wounds. Roughly, I would say around July, I have a deep relationship with God, and I'm just spending some alone time with the Father. And I said to him, I want to be, if the concept of being somebody who follows Christ is to be Christlike, then I want to be of that childlike faith. I want to believe. I want to have compassion in the areas that I lack. I want to be transparent. I want to give off exactly, whether you believe in Jesus or not, I want to give off what that is. Because when he walked this earth, without getting too much into it, he wasn't so much a individual who just was soft all the time and fed the poor. Yes, he did those things. But Jesus also had an edge. There were certain things that he decided that were unjust and unrighteous, and he put his foot down and he talked about those things. And so I think the important thing is using him as the model example of what we are to be as men and women. So that 6 months, I distinctly heard from him to take myself away from all the red pill information that I was listening to, the relationship advice, all the things that I relied on, the game, the psychology, neurolinguistics, you name it, right? And I just spent time with him. And the more I was able to let my guard down, I realized that I was able to help speak to and minister to those around me that are broken and hurting. And before, I didn't have that ability because my walls were up. And so this is something that we will be moving forward with. But a key thing that he showed me as I was spending this alone time and really sitting with myself and having to face demons that I ran away from for a number of years, is that so many individuals do not understand the impact that attachment styles have. Avoidant personalities attract anxious personalities. People with a secure attachment can end up becoming these things through trauma, right? Through childhood, those subconscious programming. And so from this point on, my channel is going to be geared towards my passion, right? And my passion from the very beginning is to help heal families, to mend the broken hearted, to share that as somebody who has had their heart broken, as somebody who has been through abusive situations, to come at that from a place of knowing and letting you know that I am there 100%. And so it's important to have that mission, right? It's important to have that purpose. But no matter how much money I have, no matter how many women I have, no matter how many cars I have, I could still be a lonely millionaire who has never healed through his inner wounds, and that can take me down. And one of the biggest passions of mine is the aspect of a generational legacy. And that's another thing that's not discussed. Do you want to continue carrying the generational curses and sins and wounds of your family line that you had nothing to do with and subject your children to that? That's what I need to ask you guys. Because for me, as difficult as it has been, as many times as I've gone in and out and dipped my toes in and out of the water, I realize I don't want to run away from this. If I don't do the self-work now, my children are going to be affected. My grandchildren are going to be affected. And simply put, if my mission was to come down here to this earth and do what I'm supposed to do with God's will, then I am being in disobedience to not doing those things, because we're held accountable for every word that comes out of our mouth. Just like our thoughts, right? We choose not to act on certain thoughts. We're held accountable for those things. So the heart is a generational legacy. And this is why I'm choosing to turn this channel into making it a kingdom mindset, right? Are we building ourselves, or are we building what we're here for? Are we helping heal others, or are we only out for ourselves? And so these videos and these talks, they're going to get progressively deeper, right? We're going to start diving into things, because if I tuck tail and run away now, I will not be able to live with myself knowing that I was held to a certain standard or degree and I knew what I needed to be done. Because let's say I don't. Let's say I get to my old age and I look back at it and I go, well, I didn't get that done. I will feel like my life was for nothing. You want to talk about mission? If you know what you're supposed to do, I suggest praying about it and being in obedience to those things. And so I just want to thank you guys. I want to take this time to just thank you guys. Those of you who have been here for a number of years, we are just getting started. And in this time, I have been broken down. I have been learning humility. I have been learning compassion. I have been learning not to jump to conclusions. I have been learning to be less judgmental. You know, all these things, when we get in certain environments, when we get in certain situations, it's easy for us to look back and go, oh yeah, I'm healed. But there's always so many layers, just like an onion, to the healing, right? And if we want families to be mended, and we want children to be restored, and we want children to be raised the proper way, then we have to exemplify those very things that we say that we want to do. And I think a lot of people get scared to do the inner work, and they continue that generational curse that they're bringing on their family, right? Let's say that I struggle with alcoholism. And my grandfather, by the way, was an alcoholic, unfortunately. I love him to death. I hardly knew him, but one of the issues that he had his heart attack from that killed him was his consumption of alcohol. And so I could look back at that and go, oh, well, my grandpa did this. Well, when I get home from a hard day of work, I think I'm just going to lay down the liquor and hammer bottles. Or am I going to look at it and go, I love this person, but this is a weakness of theirs. And this isn't coming from a place of judgment. This is coming from a place of, I want to make sure that what I'm doing is looking out for myself as well as those around me. And I think too many of us are so short-sighted, right? So rather than that, I come home and I go, I'm going to meditate, right? I'm going to journal. I'm going to enjoy, this pop that has stevia in it, something. We can still find ways to reward ourselves to a degree, but we don't have to fall in line with those exact same things that our family was bound by, right? And this is something that we will be talking about more in the future, but I just want to tell you guys, the direction that this channel is changing is going to be dramatic. And for those of you who really want to do the deep work, for those of you who are sick of running away, for those of you who keep on having, relationships that go in and out, and you're wondering, and somebody's wound triggers another's inner core wound. That's what this relationship is for. And that's why I think God really put on my heart attachment styles, Ari, inner wounds. Until you heal these things, you're going to bring them to others. You need to learn to heal yourself. You need to learn to let yourself be healed from me, but you have to pursue me first. Just spending that time in the wilderness, just learning to be still and listen to those things has had such an impact on my life. And so that is the trajectory. That is the new channel, because that's what it means to be a healthy, effective, communicating man that can be vulnerable. And he will be able to find, you guys that are so worried about your vulnerability, you just have not found a woman that supports that vulnerability yet, because there's so many people that are unhealed and wounded, including myself. And it's our job to patch those up. So I look forward to pressing more videos with you guys. I am actually going to be hopefully releasing a video again within 2 weeks or so. I'm actually going to be in Canada doing a leadership school. And so I will take you guys with me and we'll talk more about this. But you guys already know the tagline if you've been around for 2 years. I hope you all had a happy new year. Let's get after it and stay frosty.